right, my name is Robert Skrob. We're going to talk today about how to keep your subscribers from quitting, how to stop them from quitting, and how to keep them renewing year after year. Is that a great idea? You like more of that? It's all about getting the renewal lifestyle, building a business that continues to grow, so that when you get a new customer, get a new subscriber, new member, you can add them to the stack, increase your revenue, and grow your business. A little bit about my background. For the first 10 years of my career, I was all in association membership marketing. And I was working membership marketing, subscriptions, and products, conferences, all this for associations. And I came across this whole world of direct response marketing, and I created my first copywriting, my first sales letter for membership, sitting at my little coffee table, reading a Dan Kennedy How to Write a Sales Letter book, and that began my beginning of my education in direct response marketing. And so I've had the opportunity early in my career to write sales letters for more than 50 different niches for both member acquisition, but all in member acquisition, conference sales, exhibit sales, sponsorship sales. And so it gave me a wide range of experience. And then I kind of figured out, I said, wait a minute, there's these for-profit companies that are selling subscriptions or memberships, whatever they call it. And then when they get a subscription, they get to keep the money. And there's these for-profit companies that are out there putting on conferences and for publishing products. It's like, wait a minute, I ought to do more of that for-profit stuff and less of this non-profit stuff. For the last 10 years, I've been really focused on for-profit subscriptions and membership programs, and I do continue to have some association clients, but really my emphasis now is in the for-profit side. Everything from working with SaaS companies, maintaining their subscribers, to subscription businesses and memberships. I authored a book called, in 2007, I authored a book called The Official Get-Rich Guide for Information Marketing for Entrepreneur Press, which is essentially kind of a biz op for the entrepreneur market on how to start a business within the publishing world. And wrote 5 other books, authored 5 other books for Entrepreneur Press on the topic. And that business, those books drove customers into a subscription program that I sold in 2012. Ever since then, I've been just taking on a handful of clients, and helping them with subscriptions. So that's a little bit about my background, both for-profit, non-profit, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with me. But I predated the internet. I predated we all have CRMs now. Back, our CRM was drawers of index cards. We didn't even have the fancy plates, and that's how we kept track of memberships. But the monthly continuity innovation in right around 2001, 2002 really changed everything for subscriptions and memberships, and we saw a huge increase. Now, of course, I'm from the association world, so we've been doing memberships for more than 100 years, but monthly continuity really changed the game because we were able to get folks in for, then we were doing a lot of free trial offers, but we were able to get folks in for a very nominal fee and then build the value of that customer over time. And so we saw a huge increase in both the number of clients that were interested and our ability to sell those programs. And then all that came to a huge crash in about 2008, 2009 with that last Great Recession. And I saw churn rates go up. I saw a lot of membership businesses have problems. Anybody feel that? Where folks were just calling and canceling their membership for no good reason other than they were just trying to cut back on costs, and they weren't going through with their membership programs. And what I found was that there was some real fundamental differences within the membership programs that were growing and the ones that had people calling to cancel all the time, and that there was a really different relationship. I've had the opportunity to for clients, both as a consultant and then within that coaching business that I sold, to help more than 150 people launch subscription businesses, some of which they sold for tens of millions of dollars. Others, they still operate today, and some, unfortunately, are out of business. And the difference between the ones that are thriving and selling for tens of millions and the ones that are out of business are exactly what we're going to talk about today. And it's not in the tactics, although we'll talk about plenty of neat little tactics that you can take back, but the type of relationship they're building with their members and how their members perceive them, or how their subscribers perceive them. And there's a lot out there about the distinction between a subscription business or a membership business or the relationship. And for me, there's only one relationship. Either the members are part of a vibrant tribe that love your organization, or it's just a service, just like the cleaning lady. And there's a little bit of switching costs because it's a hassle to find a new cleaning lady. But you know what? If you had to, you would. Or it's a hassle to find a new lawn service, but if you could find it cheaper, you would. And so what we're able to do is really transcend that product for money transaction into a real relationship. And one of the things that it was interesting that when I went over to the for-profit side, there was a lot of dissing of associations, and how I'm sure a lot of you feel this way. You go to an association event and it's nowhere near as much content. Nowhere, the publications are nowhere near as good as for-profit providers. Anybody feel that way? You look and you're like, they call this content? This is crap, right? And one of the keys in what we're going to talk about is there's a lot more to the relationship than content. And when you are focused only on giving fabulous, spectacular content, that's only 20% of the relationship. And what associations have figured out, sometimes it's just tradition that's passed on from one regime to the next. Others, it's actual strategy and thoughtfulness, that there are a lot of other reasons why folks join. And so we're going to talk about that difference today. It's tough selling memberships today, selling subscriptions. Your customers are on, very often, if you're auto-charging them, you're not the only one. Back in 2002, when continuity was new, we would start somebody, and if it was $59 a month or $99 or $495 a month, we're probably the only one. Now, it's not unusual for a family to have a monthly credit card bill of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. If you think about what yours is, we are selling into a scenario where, well, it's nice that these auto charges, either they're annual or monthly or more widely accepted, but even still, there's a lot of competition, and it may have nothing to do with your offer. It just may be that the customer already has other subscriptions or continuity that they're involved with. Also, a lot of apathy out there today. It's interesting that a recent study showed that more than, and at least in Florida, this study was done in Florida, that 4/5 of the population had not contacted a local elected official at the state, county, or city level. They're just not engaged in the political process. You take that back, that's less than a third of what it was 20 years ago. Folks were a lot more active with their local officials, contacting them, sending them letters. And now that there's all this technology and they have these websites where you can email them, a lot of folks are just not availing of themselves of that opportunity. And so why do they care if they're not engaged in the process? We're going to talk a little bit about why subscribers quit, and kind of go through a little bit of kind of what this game is, what we're up against. First area is sales.
that they're not seeing the value, you haven't built the value of what you're delivering yet, they feel it's not a fit, or they buy and they discover it wasn't what they expected and they feel disappointed and they quit. The next area is billing. You could have them on an auto charge, either monthly or annual. The card gets stolen and replaced, and they don't come back to tell you. And then you can't get a hold of them. The card expired, they have no available credit or new expiration date for any other reason. Next is onboarding, or orientation, I like to call it. This is the most pivotal opportunity in the relationship, and one of the things that I'll give you a little hint as to what we're going to talk about earlier is now we have this concept of a lead, where when I started, you either had a customer or not. This whole multi-step sales approach. We weren't like having opt-ins back before there was the internet. But think of instead of your member as a lead. The brand new member, they're not a member really till they renew. And when they become a new member, let's think of them as an opportunity for a renewal. And now, what are we going to do over the next 12 months to get them, or even shorter if you have a compressed renewal offer, to get them to renew, and then now you can count them as an ongoing member. So a lot of things you hear is like, oh, this isn't relevant to me. Well, this is probably an onboarding issue, or there's too much, or I can't handle, or I don't have the time, or I can't do it, or I don't have money to implement, or I never got around to it, or this doesn't work. All those are orientation problems within your new member funnel. Also, there can just be a simple life change within their lives that has nothing to do with you. Either it's no longer important, they've had some traumatic event, they've found somebody else, maybe they're going out of business. I mean, we have customers that go out of business. They got sick, or they can't afford it because of some other reason, or they need a break. And how many people I just need a break and I'll be back. Any be backs ever come back? No. So another thing that's stacked against you, and then you could actually have problems with your fulfillment systems. Either the package you sent them was lost, or they couldn't get an answer to their question, or you didn't provide something that they felt like they were supposed to get, or there's broken links on the website, or poor service. All of it adds up to reasons why your subscribers quit. And so what we're going to talk about today is how to overcome all of these so that you get a transaction, the real forever transaction in your business, and be able to continue to grow. Does that sound good? Yeah. Anybody recognize these? Yes. Any ones I didn't think of? I'm sure, but it happens every day, and even if you get the billing right, there's so many other parts that need to fit together in order to get your subscribers to continue and renew. So most people's response to this challenge are all about marketing. They're social media, they're doing product launches, they're trying to do webinars, affiliate offers, trying to do Facebook ads, Google Hangouts, all marketing focused, all about trying to get new members. Like they're outracing the members quitting by trying to go get new members. And it's just like putting more water in a bucket with a hole in it. Putting more water in a leaky bucket doesn't fix the leak. And so that's what we're going to talk about. And this is what the correct membership systems can do. I'm going to go into more detail with Jim Armstrong's story, but after we did what we're going to talk about today, what I'm going to show you, we doubled new member conversion. And so we're going to focus, it's like, okay, it's all about retention, but this is also going to help your new member conversion as well. We doubled conversion at the new member level and doubled retention. So it made a massive impact in Jim's business to flooring dealers. With Auto Training Institute, they sell to auto repair shops. We increased membership by 156% within 6 months. For this case, it was all based on retention, holding on to the members. They just stopped quitting. With Michael Rosbrook, he sells to CPAs and tax attorneys, and we launched his program, sold $120,000 within just a few hours, and launched his membership program. We're going to show you what he did as well. And then Ron LeGrand, who sells to real estate investors, will show you what we did with his business and added another $2 to $3 million in membership revenue. So a little bit about, just in terms of the power of renewals. If you are adding 1,000 new members a year and you have 70% of them renewing, then you're going to have about 3,333 members at kind of a stasis level, and it's going to grow. That's going to be about what it is. 1,000 new members, you're keeping 70% of them renewing. That's what that's going to be, because you got that 30% turnover every year. If you keep 80%, then you're going to have a level of about 5,000 new members. If you keep 90%, 10,000 doubles, and then it doubles again when you get to 95%. So we're going to talk about my clients. If I got 95%, I'd be fired. We get well over 95% annual renewal and show you how to do the same thing within yours. I still work with, I have 12 association clients that we work with. All of them are well above 98%. And then on the for-profit side, a lot of continuity programs that are in the 1 to 2% a month in churn. So we'll show you what's going on. But the power of this is there's a big difference between having 3,000 members and 20,000 members. And it's really the only difference is your churn rate and the level of retention. So when back probably about 15 years ago, when we really started focusing on retention, and I thought, okay, well, we got to really get this, we got to get our churn rate down and our renewal rate up. And we've found that most of the organizations I was working with were right about 85%, where they were keeping about 85% of their members. Is that pretty typical? About 85%? Are most of you higher than that or lower than that? About lower? Okay. So what I found was most of our clients were at the 85% mark. But when I dug in the numbers, I found out that the first year renewals were generally around 55%, and then the second year renewals would be 85, and then the third were 90, and then the fourth were 95. It was that first year that renewals were so much harder to get. And what we did within our organization, one of the systemic things is we stopped compensating and rewarding based on new membership growth. And instead, we did all of our business goals based on second-year renewals and made that what we graded ourselves by. That's what we reported. And yes, of course, for the clients, we also told them what the total members were, because it would be ridiculous not to. But what we evaluated was the numbers. We didn't really consider them a full member. They were a full member. They had all the rights. They got access to everything. But we didn't feel like we had a full relationship with them until they had renewed once. And so now the whole game changed, right? Because now instead of only trying to get the new member and sign them up, now the whole game came about, all right, what do we got to do in order to get that first renewal? What's the relationship that I have to form? How do I build that and also build it at scale? Because it's one thing, it's one thing when you got 1,000 new members a year. It's another thing, some of the clients that I work with have hundreds of thousands of new members, and as much as they would like to call every single one, they don't have the tools and resources. So we've got to have this be systemized. If you're on annual subscriptions, this is a chart that shows a monthly continuity program, and this illustrates. These are some of the reports that I pull for clients that I'm working with, and because we're a lot of our clients, we're pulling their reports, so because they just can't do it. I don't know how difficult it is to pull membership reports in your organization, but I find a lot of folks just aren't able to get the reports. So we're going into their CRM and doing it for them. So this is a pretty typical report, and one of the nice things about monthly continuity is that you know when the members are disengaging. If it's an annual renewal, then you got them as a member, and there's probably not going to be another money event for 12 months, at least as far as their membership is concerned. They could tune out 5 days after they joined, and you really wouldn't know until the renewal. And that was the other thing with monthly continuity. Because they were paying every month, we would get a lot faster feedback as to when they were mentally disengaged, because we would very quickly become financially disengaged because they didn't want to pay for the monthly continuity anymore. And what we found, and this actually proved true even for the annual renewals, is that they're disengaging within 60 to 90 days. That by far the majority of people who are dropping out, who aren't renewing, they just kind of fell away. They got excited about something else. And even though you're trying to renew them 12 months later, they're already long gone. At that point, you're 9 months old. Anybody remember what you bought 9 months ago? No. The excitement is long past. And so what we were finding was it would be like this curve where throughout the sales process, and all of this was direct. We didn't have this example. We do have clients that have salespeople, but by and large, this is direct marketing. They would get engaged with the sales letters. They'd get engaged with the videos, and their excitement would increase. And then all of a sudden, there'd be this moment of decision where they bought, and that was the height of their excitement. And then things would kind of wane a little bit. It feels like your members have that. And what the game became is, it's like Seth Godin talks about permission marketing, that when you get that excitement and they come up to that crest and they buy, consider that permission to take them up to the next level. And when you think in terms of how to double down on that excitement and how to double down on the experience and the emotional connection, then because you've got permission now. They have invested in you, and they've invested in this relationship. Now is the time to take that opportunity. And now I was having a conversation with Joe Schriefer at Agora Financial just on Friday, and he goes, oh, I get it. You're talking about having a sale and selling them on what they bought immediately after they bought it. It's like we do all this work to sell the customer, and then we get into the fulfillment mode, and we ship them the book, and we ship them the newsletter, and we don't continue to sell the transformation that they're going to experience. So, and I'll get into that in just a second. Does that make sense, though? Is that exciting? Fun? New way to do business? So, just another little thing that we get to see. How many people are selling monthly continuity? A couple of you? Okay. So just for a couple of you, I don't know if you have cohort analysis. This is awesome, monthly continuity. So like for instance, this business got 289 subscriptions in March of 2016. I pulled this a couple of days ago at the end of May, and they still had 245 members left. So after month 2, they had 94% of the members, and at month 3, they had 85.8% of the 289 that they brought in. So what we do is we chart these cohorts. We chart them monthly, but we also chart them by source, and we also chart them by lead funnel and things like that. But we're measuring how the number of subscriptions and then how long that cohort stays in the membership. And then we put it on a little chart so that we can see, okay, when we tried this onboarding technique, this little red was a little bit better than the rest of them. So we are constantly split testing this based on lead funnel, onboarding funnel, month, offer, and analyzing these cohorts in order to figure out what works the best. Anybody do this cohort analysis already? A couple of you? Good. One of the key things, and we've abbreviated this a little bit for time, is the really focused on the member path, thinking about from the member's perspective, from the subscriber's perspective, their engagement with our business. And so I kind of broke up the path into subscribe, engage, and then renewal, and then I've got a bonus one that we're going to talk about before. And retention starts at the subscription point. Probably not a big revelation to you, but you determine how long you're going to keep the member based on the offer. I found that while onboarding is huge and certainly can make a big difference, by far the offer, the sales offer, determines the retention. And it just so happens the best offers for retention are also the best offers for conversion. We think, oh, geez, we're going to have to give up conversion because we're going to be focused on retention, but that's not true. The offers that convert the best in subscriptions and memberships are ones that show a definite transformation. Where are you today, and where do you want to be, and how this subscription or membership is going to get you to where you want to be. What is the transformation that's going to occur in your life because of this material? And it's not because you're not subscribing to get access to a magazine. You're not going to subscribe to get access to a library. You're not subscribing to get access to content. Content's not what it's about, it's the transformation. And so what your prospective subscriber is thinking is, okay, how am I going to feel about myself when I have this content? Is it going to make me smart? Am I going to be able to go in with my boss or my board and be able to talk articulately? Am I going to be able to rest easy because my people have this information and we're protected? What is the transformation? Where am I now? And what is life going to be like after I have this content? And describing that transformation is the key to both conversion and retention, and I'll give you a few examples. The Michael Smart PR, he has a company that sells content and coaching to PR professionals. And right in his headline, what would happen to your career in PR with 8 times more media placements? That's a pretty clear before and after picture, isn't it? And so he is promising a transformation of 8 times more media than you're getting today because you are subscribing. And then he also has some secondary bullets. Ignore the frustration from getting ignored, avoid constant rejection, and give up the daily grind for good. So the headline is moving towards, but 3/4 of the population are trying to move away from something versus moving towards something. So while the headline is positive, the bullets are talk to the fear and the frustration and pain elements of why they're moving away. So this isn't talking about great tools, great information, monthly, digital versus print. It's talking about the transformation that they can experience when they have this content. Jim Augustus Armstrong sells to flooring dealers, people who put in carpet, people who install tile floors. They're going up against Home Depot and Lumber Liquidators every day with the free installation offer, and Jim Armstrong's trying to sell into this business. You imagine, flooring business is tough. The Home Depot sells free installation. And how are you going to go in and try to make a buck and as a flooring dealer when your competitor is giving it away? Well, Jim Augustus Armstrong's got more than 40 different ways flooring dealers can grow their business. And it was too much. And so I said, Jim, what are your 3 best, fastest ways to get new customers into a flooring dealer? And he told me it was I don't care if you care, so we went through what those were, and I said, great, let's sell those. And those became his core 3 for creating a $5 million 55% gross profit flooring business. And now and now it's like, how to beat Home Depot, how to beat the big boxes, how to stop traveling around giving estimates for free, how to quit all these nasty things and instead have a $5 million, 55% gross margin flooring business. That's the transformation. This is what doubled his conversion and retention. Michael Rosbrook, selling to both CPAs and attorneys, tax attorneys, teaching them how to do business with clients who have IRS tax problems. You'd be amazed at how many folks, I know everybody in here has filed all of your tax returns, but you'd be amazed and shocked at how many people do not file tax returns. For whatever reason, they don't, and then 3, 4, 5 years down the road, they get a letter from the IRS, maybe a couple of liens, and now all of a sudden they got some serious tax problems. Well, he teaches CPAs how to market to and do businesses with those professionals. And so what he does is, if you're a CPA doing tax business, you're competing against TurboTax. Or, people doing it online for free. You're competing against H&R Block. You're competing against any number of other CPAs. But in the tax problem clients, you're not. There are a couple of national players, but there's nowhere near as much competition. There's not an H&R Block. There's not a TurboTax for IRS tax problems. And so how to attract and manage new pay in advance IRS tax problem clients every single month. Completely transformed his business, marketing to CPAs. I'm a CPA. I got my license back in 1995. I still maintain my license. I get all my CPE for my mother. She wants me to have something to fall back on in case this marketing stuff doesn't work out. So, but. Do you see so Michael does sell publications. He transmits this information through home study courses and information and via email, online, through a membership site. But that's irrelevant in terms of your customer. They want the transformation. Ken Hardison, personal injury lawyers, he helps PI attorneys grow their business. And Ken was an interesting thing. He's like, Robert, I work with attorneys, and some of them are solo practitioners. Some of them have a couple of attorneys in an office. A couple of them might have an office manager, and I've got others that are multi-million-dollar businesses with offices all over an entire region. So, how do I sell a transformation when all of my members are starting at different places? So what we did with Ken was came up with the 5 stages of law firm growth. And so the stage 1 is the solo practitioner, and he's running behind on cash flow, roller coaster of income as he's trying to get clients, not enough hours in the day. The next, maybe she's got a couple of associates. Well, now the associates bring drama, communication issues, important objectives are slipping through the cracks. Associates don't have the same quality of work as you do. So each of these levels has a number of cases, basic size, and the problems that occur at that level. Now, can you go from stage 1 as a solo practitioner to a regional? No, you got to go through the stages. You can't automatically be one attorney and then all of a sudden create a huge regional law firm. So what this does is it goes through the transformations at each level and exactly what they need to focus on in order to solve. So this solo practitioner who's got the roller coaster of income, how to solve that roller coaster and have a steady growth of income. The have associates, how to scale their firm by attracting the right associates. So each one of these are a transformation for each level. And so I wanted to share that with you in case you've got folks that are coming in at a bunch of different levels. What are they coming in at, and how can you give them a transformation from one level to the next? Is that helpful? Yeah, good. Also, now this creates, so this was an onboarding tool to help somebody come in and experience a transformation, but now, guess what? It's a marketing tool too, because this is, if it was 10 years ago, this would have been the Da Vinci Code of law firm growth decoded, exactly how to transform from a solo practitioner to a regional law firm behemoth. And I don't know how many times you've been like, oh man, if somebody would just show me how to do it, I would do it. Well, now he is the guy who has decoded how anybody can go from where they are to building the law firm of their dreams. And you can too, simply mapping out the stages, showing what the pain points are, and the transformations at each level. So that's Skrob, a couple of quick examples. Those examples make sense? Are they helpful? Okay. Engagement, one of the most important parts. We've got to make it easy for new members to get started. How many of you have experienced those grab and dashers that come in, subscribe, download all the stuff, and then they're gone the next day? You have grab and dashers? Well, this is exactly all about getting rid of the grab and dashers. Common mistakes: overwhelm, trying to deliver too much too fast. We all are. We have a level of understanding about what you deliver and how your subscriber can succeed that your subscriber doesn't have. And while it's fine to give them a lot of tools, and I know, and I've been in rooms where we're trying to create an offer, and it's like, oh, well, let's create this bonus. Or you're trying to create a product launch, and over the course of a few days, it's like, oh, geez, the cart, we have fewer sales. We got to really drum up sales before the cart closes. Let's come up with another bonus. Well, all the stacking of bonuses, what that does is it overstacks the customer. This is an offer that I created for professional speakers back in 2008. And so they had newsletters, they had audios. This iPod, it was not the tech, it was a MP3 player. This MP3 player was loaded with like another 16 hours of content. There was so much to read. By the time this was a monthly continuity offer, which was get this box of stuff and then you get the monthly continuity. They were calling back and go, I haven't gone through the stuff you've given me. I'm not going to pay for more. And so that's one of the nice things about monthly continuity is you get feedback right away. And I knew real quick that this was not a package that I needed to roll out anymore. It's instead important to give them enough for the transformation. Begin them on that first step of the transformation. It doesn't have to be a big step either. Next is training. And this is a mistake, is trying to overtrain. This is a Safe Money millionaire, Brett Kitchen, teaches insurance agents how to sell, instead of being in an agency where you've got to go to an office, how to create an agency in your own home. And so there was an introduction and virtual sales foundations confirming all this stuff. It was a lot. It was overwhelming. It was just too much training, not enough inspiration. At the beginning of the relationship, we got the client by painting this dream of what life was going to be like after they got it. And then they bought, and we go, zoom, this is what you got to do. And it's overwhelming. I don't know about you, but I've tried dozens of diets that I have never done before. I don't know, I won't ask for a show of hands. Maybe it's just me. The last one was like the no sugar solution. I went back and I almost bought it again, and Amazon said, I tried to buy the Kindle book, and Amazon said, you already bought this Kindle book. And I'd bought it 3 years ago, and I didn't know that I'd bought it. Because buying a diet is a lot easier than doing a diet. And your subscribers experience the same resistance. So when I'm doing a diet, I'm like, oh, geez, I'm not going to be able to have a Reuben sandwich anymore because that's carbs and I like that. I like the Reuben sandwich. I don't want to give up the night at the sports bar with my wife and the Reuben sandwich. What am I going to eat? Celery? That's not fun, right? So I had this sticking point, this thing that I didn't want to give up that was preventing me from moving forward. Had nothing to do with the quality of the diet, nothing to do with the quality of information, whether the diet worked. I had a sticking point. And your subscribers have sticking points. They want to do what you're teaching. They want to make that transformation, but there's something they're holding on to that is just, I can't. I got to have this. I can't do that. And you probably hear it, and it comes through you in these ridiculous, silly questions. It's like, I hear it in the HR world all the time. It's like, no, you cannot, you must take the calendar down. That's no longer, you got to take the nudie calendar down. That no, putting it behind the door is not an appropriate substitute. It's no longer appropriate in the office. So, folks don't want to make these changes because they've had that calendar every year for the last 40 years. But now all of a sudden, you're suggesting compliance, and so there's something they're going to hold on to. How do you help them let that go? The same way you got them to buy, which was show them the dream. Help them feel what it's going to feel like when they're in those skinny jeans, to borrow the diet example. What their friends are going to say to them after they've lost that weight. How they're going to feel about themselves when they walk into the room. Help sell what that transformation is going to be like, and then also talk a little bit about the pain. Do this after the sale, even more than before, because now you're selling change. It's so much harder to sell than a purchase. Does that make sense? Helpful? Or so training, overtraining. Also, no curriculum. One of the things that, this was the $2 to $3 million with Ron LeGrand. Ron LeGrand publishes videos on his membership site about how to buy real estate. Brilliant videos, well produced. Some of them are interviews. Some of them are his staff interviewing. Some of them are like where they'll act out a sale. Brilliant, brilliant stuff about the 33 different types of ways you can buy a house, about the 15 different types of offers, about buy and hold, about buy and flip, about rentals, about all these different types of real estate. And I go, Ron, it's like this whole library of training resources, hundreds of hours of great stuff. Go, hey, how much do we value libraries in our society? When's the last time any of you have been to the public library? And we're in the information business, right? The library is where we let the homeless live. And it's not helping them at all. So libraries are not a compelling offer. And I know, I see it all the time, that folks will have this big bullet. You get a complete library of all this stuff. They want a transformation. What does the library allow them to do? What will life be like after they have this implemented? And now, how do we make it easy for them to make it happen? So with Ron, what we did is we created a curriculum. I said, Ron didn't graduate from high school and certainly didn't go to college, but I said, if one of his kids did, and I said, if your kid went to college, and the whole process of going to college was you go on campus, you look at you drive, park, you look at the buildings, you see science, you see math, you see history, and you go into one of the buildings, and then when you're in the building, you look at the doors and you see what the classes are, and you go sit down at class, and then when you get tired or bored of that, you get up and you go to the next class and you listen to that. How much college would happen? None. But how do you organize your library, your content? It's just this random access of all this information, and they can tune in and tune out or go here, go there. Instead, you have to create a curriculum. This is what you want to achieve. This is what the transformation. Hey, we've organized exactly what you need to follow in order to make that happen. And you know what? This is what your life is going to be like after you've done it. And we'll be here every step of the way to help you if you have any questions. Completely different offer, and a completely different when you think this way. Is it interesting, different? All right, no curriculum or over curriculum. My buddy Sean Greeley, he sells to fitness people that are in the, most of them are in those boxes that are doing the weights, anyway, they're doing all those fitness classes in a little box. Like Orange Theory is a franchise that's similar, but so he is on the opposite side. He over curriculums, and so now it's like, holy crap! I got to do all of that. That's too hard. And I'm a fitness guy. I'm not interested in that. I'm all about counting reps is about as hard as I can do. I want to help people live a healthier life. I'm not a business guy. So they're predisposed to think that they can't do it. And when you put this huge curriculum of all the crap they have to learn, it's just like showing a new. I used with the fitness example. It's like showing up the first day of the fitness class and saying, all right, everybody, you're going to bench 450 pounds before we're done here. And it's like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to do that? This isn't for me. This is for somebody else. And so over curriculum can be just as bad as no curriculum at all. Yeah, this is that bad. And he's a wonderful, wonderful person. Or also we'll go through that. Now, your program changes your members. So this was monumental when I figured this out. I knew that the longest term members were the ones that were all based on, they had this value system where they loved each other and they wanted to help each other. And you can see that within SIPA here, where SIPA, excuse me. I was in the news. I was one of the old members in the newsletter thing, and then I didn't hear the acronym, so I still see it and I say the wrong thing. SIPA, is that it? Okay, thank you. So, but you see the love, and you see how people want to help each other and want to grow, and there's this recognition that someone's success by no means takes away from somebody else. But not all members start there. And I had this thing, it's like, how do I get folks to level 3? So the levels are, number 1, I'm stuck. They're coming in because they think that the world is pretty good, but they think they're stuck. And if they think the world is bad, they're not going to become your member. If they don't, even though they feel stuck, if they don't feel like they can succeed or that there's someone else out there that's doing it well, that they're not going to join. But if they do feel that they're stuck, but that other people are succeeding, they can become your member. The way you communicate to that member is decidedly different than somebody who's at level 3. And you cannot move them from 1 to 3 without stopping at 2, which is they feel they're awesome. You help somebody level 2, they have experienced success, and they suddenly feel too smart for the room. How many people have had a subscriber where they came in, they knew nothing, they were rookie, and then within just a few months or a couple of years, they thought they were smarter than you were? And maybe you may have even seen some of them, you're smirking, that they actually went into business against you, became a competitor. I mean, everybody experienced this where they, just within a very short time, they think that they're smarter than you. When you do it right, it happens every new member, okay? Because you have to get them to that level. If you get them to that level and you don't move them to 3, they're gone. The way you get a 1 to a 2 is give them small, incremental tasks that he or she can succeed with. Just small things. Michael Rosbrook with the CPAs and tax attorneys, he has a referral letter that he helps the CPA send. And he has himself he tells, it was part of the instructions, send me the letter. And so he tells them who to send it to. So take this letter, it's digital file, put it on your letterhead, send it to these 20 people, and include me on that list. Then when he gets a copy of the letter, out goes a note that looks like it's handwritten from Michael to the member that says, congratulations, great job, I saw you got the referral letter out, let me know how it does. At first he was scared to death. Well, what if it doesn't work? What if they tell me it doesn't work? It's like, well, if it doesn't work, better we know than we don't and assume that everything's perfect. So, lo and behold, these little letters start showing up. I got 3 clients worth $15,000. I got 1 client worth $8,000. I got no clients, and he would be able to get them some other tool or look at their letter. I got 7 clients. So now, now that he gets to sell this, he now stands up in front of the room and can say, hey, when I sold this, these 15 people, these are the last 15 people that I sold this to, and this is their results. They got it implemented within 4 days, and then they got 8 clients worth $40,000. This one got 1 client worth $8,000. I can't promise what you're going to get, but this is what's the value of this program. But so there's another little lesson about making it interactive in there. But the most important tool to move from a level 1 to a level 2 is have small incremental tasks. Help them build confidence. That it's just like playing tennis or playing golf or learning how to swim. This is a skill, and we've got to help them build this skill, the skill that you're teaching, with small incremental success. Next, they start feeling good about themselves. The business owner world is rife with people who think they're brilliant and everybody around them is an idiot. And as long as they think that way, they're going to be stuck at level 2. But they've got to be at level 2. Those are some of your best members or subscribers because they're getting results. They're implementing what you're teaching. And they're great, but what you need to do is connect them with members who are at level 3. And that's where the community comes in. And level 3, they're looking for things to learn. They are happy to talk to people who are doing this. And they also know that somebody's success of a new member by no means takes away from themselves. And so they're happy to meet them. These level 3s are very often on the forums. And you build these values of helping and sharing as values of your business, of your community. And pretty soon, the folks that are coming in at level 1 and level 2 move very quickly into level 3 of your organization. So that we're kind of wrapping up on time here. I didn't know that I don't normally speak. I normally in my little hobbit hole I take 2 or 3 clients a year, and so I didn't know exactly how much to plan for. But I hope that this changes everything. Once you recognize that your members come in at a very different place than where mentally that you can retain them, and that you have the power of changing their attitude and how to make that onboarding so it's very incremental, get them some easy wins, then as they get some success, connect them with other members. One other tool with Michael Rosbrook about this thing is when he gets on his calls and his newsletters, he recognizes everybody who got the referral letters out and their success and brags about it. How does that make the person who did it? Makes them feel pretty awesome, doesn't it? And so they feel great because they bought this thing, they did it, and now they're recognized. Everybody who hasn't yet implemented, what does that teach them? Oh, geez, if that guy in Topeka can do it, I can too. And it builds a community of success. So that's a little bit, I'll be happy to go through a little more of this as we can. We'll get to the end. My information, I'm happy to do a little analysis for you or assessment of your program. It's normally $4,200. SIPA, I'm happy to do 6 of them complimentary for you. If you're interested, just holler. Here's my contact information. You can either contact me through this or the information on the website. Happy to look at your program. It is involved. It takes quite a couple hours to go through how you're recruiting, how you're onboarding, how you're retaining, and then also your ascension if you've got other products and services that you're selling. One of the other things is one of the best ways to retain a member is to get them to buy more. So if you increase their commitment by getting them to buy something else, they're going to retain at a higher level than folks that haven't doubled up on that investment by buying something else. So ascension is also a critical tool. I'm happy to stay. I know this session's over. There's a break. I'm happy to hang out and answer any questions that you have. Thank you. It's great having you, and I appreciate being part of the event.